say anything?
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, so we're back on the record. I gather the lawyers got my email yesterday, but if you haven't, the Rule 29 motion as a whole was denied, but was granted in part as to the firearms specs. I think it's been journalized this morning. Does the defendant have a witness, Mr. Mack?
We do, Your Honor. We're going to call Greg Stutchman, but our experts were waiting on a cab. The cab did not arrive timely. He just arrived. Can I have a few minutes to set up with him?
We'll go on the record 9:15.
Thank you.
We're off the record. Actually, may I speak to Mr. Shaughnessy and Mr. Phelps for a moment? Please be seated. All right, so we are back on the record. Does the defense have a witness, Mr. Shaughnessy?
We do, and Mr. Mack is going to handle that witness. But I did have one point of clarification before we begin. Other experts are present. I know that last week we had numerous experts in the room watching the testimony. There's a separation of witness order.
We have no objection. We say there's no objection that other experts in the room as a testimony procedure.
Then I will allow them in. And secondly, Your Honor, Mr. McGinney and I spoke this morning, and I know we've talked about this in the past. we would make a joint motion to the court to revisit the scene at night with patrol cars with flashing red and blue lights, if the court would consider that.
I'll consider it. I'll consider it. We have probably the defense probably won't rest till sometime Thursday at the earliest, right? Given that we're, I think we're going to be off Wednesday morning for other hearings. And as I understand, you might not have an expert available Wednesday morning anyway if we're in session.
Sure, we would have somebody Wednesday morning, but we can do Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning. We can work them around. We'll have people available Wednesday afternoon.
But you have one expert who is not available at all till Thursday, right?
Correct.
So there's no chance we would finish, even if we're done with your current experts by the end of the day tomorrow. The point is we won't be done with the defense case until Thursday at the earliest. So there's a couple days to think about it.
And we have two rebuttals too for Friday, so or Thursday afternoon, whatever day. So there's plenty of time.
Okay. So the point is, you asked me to consider it. I'll certainly consider it, and I'll tell you sometime this week. Mr. Mack.
Your Honor, at this time, the defense is going to call Greg Stutchman.
Tell him to make sure he watches out for that cord.
Yes, sir.
You can't do that a little less dangerously.
My cord, it would be my fault.
Oh, well, by all means, go ahead and trip. Do you solemnly swear you will testify the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, please have a seat there. Please be sure to speak into that microphone. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Stutchman, state your full name, spell your last name for the record.
My name is Greg, J-E-G-G. Stutchman, it's S-T-U-T-C-H-M-A-N.
Okay. Can you tell the court what your profession is, sir?
Yes, I'm a forensic analyst.
Okay. And are you also the owner of a particular laboratory?
Yes, it's Stutchman Forensic Lab in Napa, California.
Okay. And as a forensic analyst, what does your work involve?
My area involves the scientific examination, analysis, comparison, and clarification of recorded evidence, including audio evidence with gunshots.
Okay. And you indicated that the analysis does include gunshots?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And how many years have you been working in the criminal justice system?
It'll be 43 years next month.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your background and your experience.
Yes, I started as a police officer from 1973 to 1983. In 1983, I transitioned to the private sector as a state licensed investigator doing criminal investigations and civil investigations. I started the lab in 1992, originally as part of my investigation agency. It ultimately took on a life of its own, so I opted to put my resources into technology and training in audio and video forensics and phase out the investigation side of the business. So I've been operating it continually since 1992.
Okay. And what specialized training do you have in forensic analysis audio recordings?
My specialized training in that regard is from a variety of organizations and training centers. The New York Institute of Forensic Audio is one of them. That is a university-accredited training center. And they have yearly classes, sometimes twice a year, 30 to 50 hours. It's classwork, it's lab, and it's written testing. And I have attended and completed, I think, 7 or 8 of those. The Digital Summit International, which was a 3-year running training event for law enforcement and the private sector in the analysis and enhancement of digital media. The Center for Speech Technology, which is a audio engineering technology center in St. Petersburg, Russia, and now in America. And they're a real cutting-edge technology company to do with audio analysis. The Audio Engineering Society International, the National Association of Broadcasters, the American College of Forensic Examiners, the American Board of Recorded Evidence, the National Center for Media Forensics, which is part of the University of Colorado at Denver, Adobe Systems, Pacific Union College Digital Media Center, the National Association of Criminal Defense Attorneys, JBR Technology, which is an audio engineering company an audio forensic company founded and owned by Jim Reams, who's a retired special agent in charge of audio forensics for the FBI, and Tracer Technologies, which is a forensic audio engineering company.
Okay. Do you have specialized training or knowledge in the area of firearms?
Yes, I do. As a police officer, I completed the 400-hour police academy, which also included firearms training. Later, I completed a 40-hour firearms instructor course taught by the FBI. I completed a 40-hour SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics School, which also included a lot of firearms training. A 40-hour Officer Survival School, also which included firearms training, also taught by the FBI. I was the range master for the Calistoga Police Department while I was a police officer there. I was a hunter safety instructor for the California Fish and Game Department. In the private sector, I maintain a California state firearms license, which I qualify for twice a year. I also am licensed to carry a concealed weapon in 33 states, and I qualify and practice training several times a year for that. That's it.
Okay. Have you conducted analysis of recorded gunshots in previous cases?
Yeah, many times.
Okay. And can you explain what those have involved, those other examinations?
Yes, they've all involved recorded gunshots, recorded by various means.
Okay. Can you give some additional detail?
Sure. A lot of them come from 911 recordings where the caller's on the phone and the shooting's actually taking place in the background during the call. Some of them come from police mobile audio video recordings, the audio track of those. Many of them do. Cell phone videos, cell phone audios, digital recorders.
Okay. What other tests have you conducted relating to the analysis of recorded gunshots?
A variety of other tests, including creating exemplar recordings of known gunshots, replicating events and circumstances where a recording was made of gunshots.
Okay. Have you ever utilized cell phones, for example?
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
And tell us about that.
Yes, using a cell phone as the microphone that would be recording the gunshots, to use a specific caliber with specific ammunition recorded over the cell phone as the microphone, and then recorded on the hard drive of one of our computers in our laboratory. And this was done to compare with a 911 call where there was a gunshot or series of gunshots with the same caliber and the same type of ammunition that was recorded on a 911 recording.
Are there any other tests similar to that you've conducted?
Yes, replicating the conditions in another shooting case by going into the same environment, a similar environment, firing the same calibers as were fired on the evidence recording, using the same digital recorder so that we had exemplars to compare with the evidence recording.
Have you ever presented lectures on forensic audio and video matters?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And on how many such occasions have you done that?
I believe of 29 occasions nationwide.
Okay. And have any of those lectures been on the subject of the gunshot analysis and evidence recordings?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever prepared a paper on the subject of forensic audio and video?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And over the course of the past 23 years, how many recordings would you estimate that you've conducted some type of analysis on?
I would say well over 6,000.
Okay. And of those, how many have included analysis of recorded gunshots?
Many of them have.
All right. Can you give us an estimate?
Dozens.
Okay. And
What has been the origin of some of those recordings?
The origin of some of those recordings is, as I indicated, 911 calls, police mobile audio video recordings, digital recordings.
Okay. Have you testified as an expert witness in your area of forensics?
Yes, I have on over 205 occasions nationwide. That includes state and federal courts and in Canada.
Okay. And when was the first time that you testified on this?
It was in 1994 in Alameda County, California.
Okay.
On a shooting case.
Shooting case that involved gunshots then?
Yes.
Okay. Have you testified as an expert in other cases in regards to the analysis of recorded gunshots?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And approximately how many times would you say?
Several times, maybe half a dozen times.
Okay. Do you belong to any professional associations?
Yes, I do. I'm a member of the American College of Forensic Examiners, which is an expert organization of about 18,000 people in a broad variety of areas of expertise in forensics. There are boards of specialty within the organization. Ours is the American Board of Recorded Evidence, and I'm currently the chairman of that board. I belong to the Audio Engineering Society. I'm a member of their working group on audio forensics and the technical committee on audio forensics. I'm a member of the Evidence Photographers International Council, the American Society for Photogrammetry, the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, and California Association of Licensed Investigators.
All right. Can you tell the court what types of clients you provide forensic services for?
Yes, our clients are private attorneys, public defenders, district attorneys' offices, special investigations units, insurance companies, and sometimes the media.
Okay. And do you only testify for the defense in criminal cases?
No, we do work for both prosecution and the defense.
Mr. Suchman, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was brought into this case by Dr. Martinelli because it contained audio, and that's my area of expertise.
Okay. And what were you asked to do?
I was asked to conduct analysis of the audio from a mobile audio-video recording at the scene of the shooting in this case.
Okay. And can you indicate to the court what information or evidence you received to conduct your analysis of gunshots in this case?
Yes, I received a voluminous amount of evidence, actually. A lot of police reports, pictures, scene pictures, and most specifically a disc containing the dash cam video, the mobile audio video from the police car that was where the recording was made. And it was entitled, it was entitled Copies of Discs Sent to Audio Experts.
Okay. Did you also, well, let me ask you this. Did you receive any other background information in order to begin your evaluation of this CD?
Yes, I did. Various police reports and pictures.
Okay. Did you receive expert reports? Other expert
I
reports?
did. I received 5 of them, I believe.
Okay. And did you review each of those?
Yes, I did.
Okay. After you received all the information that you've indicated, at some point did you generate a report concerning your analysis and your findings in this
Yes,
case?
I did.
Okay. Not necessarily. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to hand to you what's been marked as Appendix Exhibit O. Can you take a look at that and identify it for the record?
Yes. That is my report dated October 13, 2014.
Okay. And in going through your report, that you've identified some methods of analysis as it relates to reported gunshots. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And tell us what those are.
First, I used a program called Media Info, which gives you information about the makeup of the recording, the sampling rate, the file type, so forth. Then I conducted critical listening, which is a detailed oral review, repeated oral review, listening to the events, in this case gunshots, and waveform analysis. As we see on the exhibit on the board there, the screen there, the green vertical lines, that is a waveform, and it displays the recorded material in formats of time along the horizontal axis and amplitude along the vertical axis.
Okay.
And that is used in conjunction with critical listening.
Okay.
Also spectrographic analysis. Below we see a sound spectrograph, the orange and yellow graph below, and then peak amplitude statistics.
Okay. For the record, you have Defendant's Exhibit O in front of you, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that is also, you previously looked at what's on the Mondo pad.
Correct.
Is that the same exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. Now you went through and you began explaining some of these. What tests did you utilize in this case?
The work was done with audio software, in this case Adobe Audition CS6, which is the latest, was the latest version when I did this analysis. And that allows me to view a visual graphic display of the recorded material while also listening to it.
Your Honor, please the court. May the witness step down so he can illustrate
Sure.
what he went through. I want you to take us through the process.
Just watch that trap. It's up for yourself.
Thank you.
You have the ability to scroll. So, can you indicate to the court what is it that you did first to begin your analysis of the recorded gunshots?
Yes, I reviewed the waveform, identifying the locations of gunshots. And this software allows you to place the cursor and to measure the elapsed time of where those events take place. I compared each event with the known event, identifying the shots in the first series, and then examining a single shot in the midst between the first and the second series. I examined the spectrograph and the detail in the lower frequencies of the spectrograph, comparing that with the waveform.
Try not to touch it, but you indicated that there's a waveform analysis. Can you identify what
Yes.
is present in the
Yes,
graph?
this is the waveform. And the peak. The peaks, we say, it's called peaks and troughs. These spikes,
That's okay.
he doesn't like me.
We're not touching it, hold the hand.
Don't touch it with the antenna,
Okay.
but just you can point.
Oh, okay. The larger the peaks, the higher the amplitude of the volume is. And with the spectrograph, the brighter colors indicate the higher amplitude.
And you've identified within Defendant's Exhibit O, you've identified the graphs by exhibit number as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, for example, on page 3 of your report, you've identified the first graph as exhibit number 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what does exhibit number 1 identify? What information does it reveal?
It reveals all of the gunshots in the audio portion of the mobile audio video recording.
Okay.
And they are numbered and identified with a tag and a line that goes down through the waveform and into the spectrograph.
Just above that graph, you've identified a time and a description. Can you explain that?
Yes, the time identifies the beginning of the first shot to the beginning of the last gunshot in the first series of the 41. I must point out there's a typo here,
Okay.
and so this time is not accurate.
Okay. So can you indicate to the court what the correct time is and where you are referring to.
The correct time should be 9:41 and 621 milliseconds.
And what does that reflect? That time?
That reflects what I'm looking at now is Exhibit 2, and that shows all of the gunshots and the time, the total duration of all the gunshots, which is 19 seconds and 378 milliseconds. And the 9:41, 621 indicates the beginning of where the highlighted portion is, which is at the...
So is that the first gunshot heard at 9:41, 621?
That is correct.
And that represents minutes, seconds, and milliseconds?
Yes.
Okay. And the entire duration of all gunshots heard is how long?
19 seconds, 378 milliseconds. And milliseconds are thousandths of a second.
Okay. And referring you back to page 3 of the exhibit, you've also indicated there are a total of 41 shots where?
The first series, from shot number 1 to shot number 41. Each one of them is identified with an arrow and a event number.
Okay. And can you indicate to the judge how it is that you were able to identify those 41 shots in the first series?
Yes, by critical listening, by waveform analysis, and by spectrographic analysis, looking at the pattern of the gunshot on both the waveform, each gunshot on both the waveform and the spectrograph.
Okay. Is there another time that has a typographical error in it?
Yes, it's the gunshot at 1.7 seconds. And I'll have to tell you what that should be. I might have to run. It should be 9:53.453.
Okay. And you refer to that gunshot as what?
The middle gunshot.
Okay.
That would be, I'll get back here and find it out. I get it again. It would be this one right here.
Okay. Do you have it identified by color or marker?
Yes, it's marker. Looks like 56.
Okay. And again, that time is at 9 minutes and what? 53 seconds? Okay. And you've also indicated a time differential under the description of gunshot 1.7 seconds.
Yes. The middle gunshot takes place 1.7 seconds after the last gunshot of the first series.
Okay. And how are you able to identify that?
Well, you can see it on the waveform and the spectrograph.
Okay.
And it's measured by using the measuring tool within the software.
Okay. And then you have another event occurring at 9 minutes and 54 seconds. What is that?
That is a car door closes. You can see this very prominent.
Okay.
Somewhere in the area, a car door closes.
And then there's another event that occurs after that. What do you have?
That is at 9:56.074. That is the first gunshot of the second series.
Okay. Moving on, you've also identified an exhibit number 2 in your report. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And what is that information revealed in exhibit number 2?
And this has the circle duration in the bottom right corner. It shows all of the gunshots highlighted with their markers, and it's 19 seconds, 378 milliseconds.
Okay. You also have identified an exhibit number 3. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's the exhibit number 3.
And that is the one that you indicated that had the typographical.
Yes, very correct.
What is it supposed to reflect?
It is supposed to, I'll have to look at the actual correct. It shows all of the gunshots in the first series, from the first one to the beginning of the last one.
And then you've also identified exhibit number 4. What is that supposed to be?
This shows all the gunshots in the last series, the second series, and the duration time, which is 4.926 seconds.
Okay. And what's the starting point for that?
The starting point for that is 956.074.
Okay. And then underneath exhibit number 4, you have a table. Can you identify that for the record?
Yes. These are where I've identified the gunshots. This is the only part we're showing. In the second series.
Okay.
And we have 1 through 4, and we have an asterisk which indicates a different shot between 4 and 5 almost simultaneously, another asterisk between 5 and 6, and another asterisk between 6 and 7. There are different gunshots from the 15, but interspersed between those shots.
Okay. So this table represents the second series of gunshots.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And how many gunshots do you have in the second series of gunshots?
A total of 18.
Okay. A total of 18?
Correct.
Okay. And why do you have 15 gunshots and then the 3 asterisks?
The 15 gunshots are agreed by everyone that they're from the same weapon, the same shooter. The 3 interspersed are almost simultaneously with the rounds that they are in between. And though they are, in my opinion, clearly gunshots, they are not part of the same 15 that have been identified by number.
Okay. Is there a graph that you can go to in your report that allows you to identify what you refer to as overlapping shots as actually being gunshots? How is it that you're able to determine that those are gunshots?
I would need to I have an expanded version of Exhibit 4 that clearly shows that, and it's in the exhibit packet. It's in the tab 5.
I'm going to hand to you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit U. Can you identify that for the record?
Yes, I can. It is an expanded version of Exhibit 4 that has the spectrograph, and it has the 3 in-between shots identified with arrows, so it points to the spectral pattern on the spectrograph.
When you say expanded version, explain to the judge.
When you're looking at the waveform of the spectrograph, you can zoom in on them or contract them. And this one has been zoomed more so you can see more detail of the shots and in between the shots.
Can you indicate to the court whether or not those overlapping, what you refer to as overlapping shots, whether or not those could be echoes?
In my opinion, no, they are not echoes.
Okay, and why not?
Well, for one reason, well, there's several reasons, but one is there are no similar events in between any of the other shots, and the geography hasn't changed. It would be completely implausible for there to be an echo just between those 3 shots and nowhere else in the recording.
Okay. So when you say nowhere else in the recording, you mean between shots 1 and 3 and 7 and 15?
I'm not following it.
Well, are there echoes? You read the other reports.
Oh, yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. And you also read a report where there was the suggestion that there could be an echo. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Was that Dr. Do you remember whose report that was?
Dr. Beck.
Dr. Beck, okay. And you just have to explain that between gunshots 4, 5, and 6, that those are other gunshots. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you're saying that if there were echoes present, you would expect for them to be throughout?
Correct.
Okay. you were identifying reasons as to why they would not be echoes.
Yes. Another factor to be considered is how this recording was made. It was made in a police car with a mobile audio video system, the microphone was inside the police car, and some distance away from where the shots were fired. That results in the gunshot sounds that reach the microphone being filtered or the amplitude reduced versus if you were right there at the scene. And it's my opinion that an echo wouldn't even make it to that recording device. Echoes do not have the amplitude or the volume of gunshots, and they have a different sound than gunshots.
Are there characteristics that are similar between the overlapping shots where you have the 3 asterisks and gunshots 1 through 15 that will allow you to identify those gunshots?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
That would be the best exhibit to do. I could put up the digital version if that's what you don't know.
Okay.
How should we do that? Try to do it online.
You can do it on your laptop and show it to the judge. Please record. Your Honor, may I approach?
Sure.
I've shown this to the state. You don't have this in front of you. I'd ask you to take a look at that. That's the expanded version that's more enhanced.
I was switched this so it's picking up like.
You know the switch.
Okay, just to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go off the record for a minute, so just let me know when you're ready, and then I'll ask the
Thank you.
reporter to go back on.
Yes.
That leaves in the trash.
I have it on a thumb drive.
You get it on a thumb drive, I can just put the thumb drive on that.
Okay. And it's 4A. It starts with 4A.
Are you ready, Mr. Mack?
Are we ready?
Yes.
Doctor? Mr. Touchman?
All right, so hold on. So we are back on the record. Thank you, Mr. Mack.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Sussman. You were
You have the
explaining.
pointer?
Yes.
Okay. This is the sound spectrograph. And as I indicated, it shows the recording material in time along the horizontal axis and frequency along the vertical axis. I got too close again. And this shows 0 hertz, 100, 200, 300, and so forth.
Can you explain that? Frequency and the hertz?
Yes, frequencies are measured in hertz or kilohertz. And so these are the lower frequencies down here, and incrementally go up. If you look at each of the first 4 gunshots, you look at the between 100 and 200, you see the bright color, which indicates high amplitude. And then above it, about 250 hertz, you see it at that frequency too. Now the first of the three gunshots between the others is indicated by the red arrow. You do see the brightness indicating amplitude at about 250 hertz. Then we have shot number 5, and you see the bright amplitude there, and then you see at about 200, between 100 and 200, the brightness showing amplitude there. And then you get to the second in-between shot, and you see the bright amplitude between 100 and 200, and also at about 250, indicate that's a loud event. And then we get to the shot number 6, and you see the same. You see the brightness at both between 100 and 200 and about 250. And then the next in-between shot, between 6 and 7, you see the brightness indicating amplitude at both between 100 and 200 and at about 250. That indicates those are not soft, quiet events. Those are loud events. And as you look at the rest of the gunshots, you see the amplitude at those frequencies that are displayed on the spectrograph.
Are there any other reasons that you would be able to indicate in the court as to why these are not echoes and they're actually gunshots?
Yes, and that would be critical listening by actually playing the audio file.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be starting to play from the...
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Sussman, you've indicated the number of shots in foul elapsed time. I'd like to go through some times with you. You've identified in the second series, the first gunshot starts at what time?
The first gunshot starts at 9:56.074.
Okay. And then the first overlapping shot starts at what time?
It starts at 9:57.430.
Okay. And can you indicate to the court the amount of time elapsed between gunshot number 1 of the 15 and the first overlapping shot?
Just a few milliseconds.
A few milliseconds. Would another way to characterize that to be to say that they're almost simultaneously
Very
shot?
close. Very close.
Okay. And gunshots 4, 5, and 6, and 7, relative to time in comparison to the overlapping shots, do they all occur within seconds, milliseconds?
Milliseconds.
Okay. And again, those shots are almost simultaneous. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what about between the final overlapping shot? What time does that start?
The final overlapping shot starts at 9:57.676.
Okay. And then gunshot number 7 starts at what time?
9:57.890.
Okay. How much time elapsed between the final overlapping shot and gunshot number 15?
The final overlapping gunshot, you're asking me to do math in my head.
Yes.
It starts at 9:57.676, and the final of the 15th, the last round, is at 10:01:00.
Okay. How much time elapsed between the
3 seconds.
3 seconds? Okay. Now, you also have identified the middle gunshot. You remember the time for the middle gunshot?
The middle gunshot is 9:53.453.
Okay. How much time elapsed between the middle gunshot and the first gunshot of the second series?
2.6 seconds.
Okay. How much time elapsed between the middle gunshot and the first overlapping shot of the second series?
I'm sorry.
Middle shot
Okay.
to first overlapping shot of the second series.
That's two different charts, and I'm going to have that in front of me.
Okay.
Actually, why don't I do-
Well, let me ask you this. Middle shot is 953 and .453. And gunshot number 15 is at 10:01. How much time has elapsed between the two? I'm sorry.
3.630 seconds.
Okay. And I misspoke. I said the final overlapping shot in gunshot
Oh,
number
the
15.
final, okay.
Right.
Note here. It would be 4.209 seconds.
So that's the final overlapping shot in the second series to gunshot number 15 took 4 seconds.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were at the middle shot. Just a moment.
My apologies. That was my original question. But now I'm asking you the final overlapping shot to gunshot number 15. And I apologize if I've asked it already.
It is 3.323 seconds. 323 seconds.
Okay. And since we're talking times, stick with me. The final gunshot of the first series to the middle gunshot, how much time elapsed?
1.7 seconds.
And then the middle gunshot to the first gunshot in the second series, how much time elapsed?
2.6 seconds.
Okay. The middle gunshot, did there come a time when you did further analysis of that gunshot?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that.
I compared it to the gunshots in the 15 in the second series, both on the spectrograph, waveform, and in critical listening orally.
Okay.
And especially listening to the middle shot and comparing it with the first shot of the second series.
Okay. And what was your determination?
My determination was there was strong similarities between the two.
Okay. So at the time that you did, was that critical listening for a second time?
Many times.
Many times?
Yeah.
Okay.
In conjunction with the waveform and the spectrographic analysis.
You were of the opinion, and I'm asking you for your final opinion, we'll get there, but you were of the opinion at that time that the middle shot and gunshots 1 through 15, what was your opinion regarding that?
My opinion regarding that was that it was consistent with being from the same gun.
Okay. You touched on it a little bit earlier. What is peak amplitude statistics?
Peak amplitude statistics are generated by the software that I used, which was Adobe Audition CS6. And by highlighting, if you want to bring up a picture of the waveform and the spectrograph, this is the shots. And so with the software, right? Okay. With the software, you highlight the gunshot, the area where you can see it in the waveform and you can see it on the spectrograph. And then using the analysis tool called peak amplitude statistics, it calculates what the highest volume of that shot, that event is. And then it gives that to you in decibels, or digital minus decibels, minus dB.
Did you measure the decibel level of the gunshots in the second series as well as the middle shots?
Yes.
Okay. And for what reason?
To compare the peak amplitude, the volume of those shots with the middle shot.
Okay. And as a result of that, did you make any determinations?
Yes. The peak amplitude of the middle shot is consistent with the 15 of the second series that are drinking from the same gun.
Okay. So you indicated earlier that, first of all, you extracted information from the dash cam. Is that correct? In order to get the recorded gunshots?
Yeah, that's correct. The dash cam has the audio and video, and so I used a program to export the audio so I could open it then in the audio software to do the analysis.
Okay. And did you bring a copy of that audio with you today?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you have it?
You have it.
Do you have what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit P, that audio recording ready to play?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And can you please play for the court the entire volley of gunshots from beginning to end?
Yes.
Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is play that, what you refer to as the middle shot. Can you go back and forth between the middle shot and the first gunshot of the second series?
Yes, I can.
And if you can play that several times for the court, then I have a couple questions for you after you play it.
We have the middle shot and then the first shot of the second series.
In your critical listening, you made the determination of what regarding those two shots?
The similarity orally.
You could hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you play for the court gunshots 4, 5, and 6, that segment that contains gunshots 4, 5, and 6, and the overlapping shots? Yes. And if you could just do the same thing, play it repeatedly.
Okay. Did you want all three overlapping gunshots to be in this series that I played?
Yes.
This will be 1 through 7 with the 3 overlapping.
Okay. In your critical listening, what do you
overlapping shots are not quiet shots. They have a significant amplitude to them, not dissimilar to the 15.
Okay. And now play that final volley of the second series, from 1 to 15, and then with the other 3 shots, all 18. After those 3 shots, they're single shots again? One?
Yes, correct.
All right. If you could have a seat for a minute, Mr. Stutzman. I'm looking at Defendant's Exhibit O. That's your report. You arrived at certain opinions and conclusions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And are all these opinions to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your opinion concerning the first series of gunshots to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
That there are many gunshots.
Okay. And interpretation?
And by multiple shooters.
Multiple shooters. Okay. And then, do you have an opinion as it relates to that middle gunshot to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, that it's consistent with being the same as the 15 of the last series.
Okay. And what about the 3 events between gunshots 4 and 7? Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty as it relates to that?
Yes, they're gunshots, not echoes.
Okay. And you've also indicated that peak amplitude varies in gunshots measured and compared in the second series. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why was it important to put that in your opinions and conclusions?
Well, because it was significant in comparing those with the middle gunshot. Because even all of 15 in the second series, that it's agreed that they're from the same gun. They're not all at the peak, the same peak amplitude, but they're close and similar. Some quieter, some louder than the middle shot in between the 2.
Okay. Did you draw any conclusions based on that 2.6 seconds between the middle shot and the first shot of the second series?
Yes, I did. Based on my knowledge, background, experience, it was my belief and opinion that that was enough time for a skilled shooter to load a new clip and continue shooting.
Okay. And you're able to say that as a firearms instructor, as a former police officer?
Yes.
Okay. Did you reach any other conclusions in your opinion section after that?
That it can't be determined if the 3 shots interspersed in the second series are from a single shooter or more than one shooter.
Okay.
And also that particular weapon can be identified by this recording.
Okay. And what about the presence of the overlapping 3 gunshots? Did you draw another conclusion as it related to those gunshots between 4 and 7? What that would indicate to you based on your prior training, your experience, and as an expert in this case?
That they are gunshots from a different weapon or weapons.
Okay. Do you have an opinion about the number of shooters that there could be during that second series? Up to how many?
Up to 4.
Okay. And as little as?
As little as 2 or as many as 4.
Okay. And you are not able to determine who in fact is firing those last 15 shots. Is that correct? Based on listening and spectrograph analysis and all of that?
Based on this recording alone, that's correct.
Okay. Did you ever have the occasion to review a report from Megan Timlin?
Early on, yes.
Okay. Do you know if that report identified the number of gunshots that she was able to determine?
I do not recall.
Your Honor, I'm going to take one more.
Sure.
When you're referring to based on a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, what field are we talking about?
Audio forensics.
Okay. Did you have the occasion to go to the location where this incident occurred?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when did you go?
Last night.
Okay. And did that give you some more information as it pertained to making a determination of whether or not, in that second series, whether or not echoes would be something that could occur under?
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about that.
There's nothing out there in the close proximity that would indicate echoes. There's the grass, which is going to absorb the sound. There's wide open space, so it would not be, my opinion, that it's likely that you'd have echoes that would be on the recording from that environment.
Your opinion is what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
That you would have echoes on that recording in that environment and in the method that it was recorded.
Okay. That you would or you wouldn't?
You would not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have nothing further at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. We'll take a 15-minute break. So, sir, you remain under oath and obligated to return to the stand
Thank
just
you.
after 10:30. Thank you. We're off the record.